Today I talk about the importance of absurdity. Welcome to episode number 25 of the Luebbers journey. So, the other day in my video, I talked about changing your state in order to change the way you view problems. Particularly, one of the ways I like to do this is to ask absurd questions. And I got a comment about it, and it got me thinking about the importance of absurdity, of asking questions and putting yourself in states of just absurdity, doing things that seem absurd, asking questions that seem absurd, putting yourself in situations that are absurd, because it's sometimes my biggest creative breakthroughs, or even just some of the most fun moments in my life, come from absurdity. Another good example of this, and another reason that I've been thinking of this topic, is I've recently gotten hooked on this YouTube channel. It's called Big Dolls TV. If you're into prank videos, you should absolutely check it out. But this guy goes around just performing a crazy array of pranks, all the way from, exercising, bringing massive exercise machines to public places, to using puppies to pick up girls, and everything in between. And they're super, super funny. And they're just really, really absurd situations. And watching them, some of the situations are really awkward. And watching them, you even get this sense of, cringe-worthiness. And what I've found, even in the short time I've been watching a lot of them over the past couple days, is that it just watching somebody put themselves into these absurd situations not only changes the way that I think about people. For example, a lot of the people react extremely, extremely well. They'll either laugh or they'll be really kind and generous. And most people would think, the back of our head, the nagging fear says, if I embarrass myself, it's the end of the world. My social life is ruined, or the repercussions will be huge, even though on a logical level we know that's not true. Until we actually put ourselves into these absurd situations, we don't realize it on an emotional level, that the world doesn't end if you embarrass yourself in an absurd way in public. And another way, so putting yourself in absurd situations is one way to have creative breakthroughs and to blast through limiting beliefs about the world and conceptions that just aren't accurate but are hard to internalize on a visceral level. Another way, as I referred to in the beginning, is asking absurd questions. And a really great example of this is Peter Thiel, one of the founders of PayPal, and an investor, billionaire, talks a lot about this topic, about asking just ridiculous questions in order to change the way that you look at things. And one question that he recommends in particular is, when you're making a 10-year plan, or when you're evaluating the macroscopic picture of your life and saying, what do I want to achieve over the coming long time period, you should ask yourself, why can't I achieve this in 6 months? And that's a weird question. That's a question most people would say is absurd. And yet, by asking it, your mind is forced to play a picture, even a mini video, of what would it look like? What sort of resources would I need? What sort of mindset would I need? What sort of strategy would I need to accomplish this 10-year plan in 6 months? And this isn't to say that you'll do it. This isn't to say that you even should do it. But in some cases, you certainly could. And regardless, it will change the way that you view the problem or the issue or the goal in such a radically different way that it's likely to create creative breakthroughs. Now, the final example I want to give of this is something that I did for a while. I've stopped, but I want to get back into it because I absolutely love it. But it's the practice of once a week going out and doing something that embarrasses you, or doing something that puts you in a really, really uncomfortable situation. And I learned about this there's a business actually called Comfort Zone Crushers that puts out a lot of content about this and challenges and stuff like that. And an example, the first one they recommend, and the first one I did, is to find a public location where people are walking by, pedestrians and people, and just lay down for 30 seconds. And then get up. And it's funny, it's really simple, but it's super uncomfortable. It's really hard to do the first time. But you quickly realize that nobody really cares. People give you some weird looks, but nobody really cares. Other examples are going up to people and introducing yourself, for example. A lot of people find that really hard. Or even, intentionally asking people for something that you know they'll say no to. Going up to people and asking for like a bite of their food or something ridiculous where you know they'll say no. It's really great for desensitizing you to rejection, and also it puts you into one of these absurd states of whenever you do something that you've never done before, whenever you do something that feels really just ridiculous and crazy to you, your mind gets out of its normal rut of thinking, and you're incredibly likely, I'm certainly incredibly likely as an individual to have creative breakthroughs when I put myself in these absurd situations. Would love to know if you have had any creative breakthroughs or massive personal breakthroughs as a result of putting yourself in absurd situations or asking absurd questions. And I hope you found this video fascinating, and I'll put out another one tomorrow.